Welcome back, everybody. This is tension video number 3, the most common problems that sometimes we forget and don't take a look at, and sometimes we get angry at our machine when it's just us. So let's go through some of the most common problems. These are the things that we need to check first, so make sure that you follow the link below to the tension guide so that you can print it off and follow along with me. All right. The machine not being threaded correctly is probably the top of the list for common thread and tension problems. Make sure that you have done your due diligence, and I can't tell you how many times I've identified if I just look up and follow the thread path down my machine to make sure it's threaded correctly. Also, even the most experienced quilter who's done it 1,000 times can miss a step. Or the thread breaks, it can wrap around something. So watch the path, make sure you got your glasses on so you're looking closely as possible is to see if the threads may be caught behind one of the discs rather than between. That's a common problem. It can be wrapped around or it can miss a little hole that it needs to be threaded through. Another common problem is pulling the back thread, the thread as it comes around the tension knob between the disc is flossing it towards the center. Lots of times we'll forget to pull it between the discs towards the center and it just lays there. That can cause very loose, sloppy tension. So follow the path. Make sure everything's threaded. This is another place where it can cause you tension problems. Sometimes when the thread breaks, it can get wrapped around a couple of times. This little guide right here, and just take a closer look because that could be your problem. Just wrapped around this a couple extra times and it's not pulling correctly as it's going through the needle. And then missing this little guide right here for the thread, lots of times we'll forget that it's there and we'll skip right to the eye of the needle. So make sure that the path is correct, that you're pulling the threads through, and that the tension is nice. So another tip I want to suggest as you're threading your threads through the guides is kind of pull it back and forth so you can make sure that it's getting that tension. And so when it gets to this point right here, I'll kind of pull it down and I can feel that there's tension coming through the disc so that I've pulled it through the disc correctly. So don't pull it through the needle eye to see if the tension's correct because that can bend and twist your needle. Just make sure that you're pulling it right here just to make sure that you have that tension. If you'll do those little steps, that can really help save a lot of time. Even getting back to work that day on your quilt. So trust the process, double check. Okay, the next thing that we need to make sure is that we're checking our bobbin and that it's installed correctly. Did you know that the bobbin could fall out and cause you problems? Yeah, because how we're handling the bobbin is a little different than our domestic machines. When you're pulling it out, you can pull it out using the little arm on the bobbin case. This little arm locks. It locks the bobbin into place so it doesn't fall out. But when I don't have any pressure on it, guess what? The bobbin falls out. So I'm just holding it. All right. So once you understand that that's what it does, on long arm machines, when you're putting the bobbin inside the machine, you don't want to hold it using the arm and locking it in place because it's not going to fit securely into the hook. Now the hook is right down here. It's the item that rotates back and forth to help make your tension nice and even. When you're putting your bobbin in, what I like to do, and I've gotten really good at it. I like to make sure that my bobbin is threaded correctly. And on long arm machines, most of them, the thread is pulling clockwise, okay? And then when I'm putting it in, I will hold it between my thumb and my pointer finger on my right hand. I will take it, bring it down in between these two poles right here, and I'm not even going to lift up on the lever at all, and I'm going to slide it into place, and then once it's in there, I'm going to push it in and listen for it to snap. Once it's snapped, it's securely in place. I'm going to bring up my threads, cut them off, and you're good to go. Just understand your bobbin case, how it works, and once you do, man, you'll understand tension a little bit better. Now, we've already checked our needle and we've placed it, but make sure you check your needle. Make sure it's not broken or twisted or turned in one direction or another. That can cause bad tension and thread breaking. And use the correct size needle for the threads that you're using. Most threads will tell you the size needle that works best with that thread. Then check to make sure it's straight, and we're good to go. So thanks for joining me on tension video number 3, the most common problems that we should be checking before we make that phone call. Join me for video number 4, what influences tension?